And like the author himself, Alan Locke, he was gay, and he had a more understanding of gay people and their rights, and like his whole concept was about being self-aware, and how today there's more laws being passed that concerns gay people because of people speaking up. And yeah.
Yeah, like he was saying, we have different celebrities like, Ellen, who are speaking out and being kind of an advocate for gay rights, and honestly just being having a platform where she can speak. And a lot of times there wasn't that, back in the day, especially during the time of Alan Locke, which is another reason why I feel like he wrote The New Negro, because he was a philosopher just such like W.E. Du Bois, who, was talking about white people and black people and the differences, and how black people need to kind of come up out of the whole slave mentality and having their own way of thinking, which is, really what the new Negro is about. The new Negro is, not just being the person that sits and lets people tell you your history, but finding out your own history. So we talk a lot about that in class, and kind of being your own vessel of, being finding your own knowledge and being more um, independent instead of dependent on white people. Like during the slavery times when slaves were really dependent on their masters, and that was kind of like the developed thinking was just very backwards, because it was kind of like you were getting told what to think instead of thinking for yourself. So the whole idea of the new Negro is thinking for yourself. So they talk a lot about Harlem, and what were we saying about Harlem? And what was he saying about Harlem again?
About how like it's different black peoples in Harlem, and how like they all come together.
Yeah, he said a lot of, and Harlem was like the only place where you could see black people from the north and the south, and criminals, artists, dancers, philosophers, like educators, all in one area, and they all could thrive together. And I feel like there's still places like that, but it's not going to be the same. I think one example where there's a lot of black people, a lot of different black people, is in, like, let's say Atlanta.
Right.
In Atlanta, you see everybody, and I think that's kind of his idea, was just like taking back your own, and not, and creating your own instead of feeding off what other people can give you. And that's kind of what the entire idea of the new Negro is. So, and just educating yourself, and going out and getting an education, because like we said earlier, Alan Locke was a Rhodes Scholar himself, and he went to Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we won't hear about him, but we will hear about, Aristotle or Plato, and it's kind of like being who you are and being unapologetic about it. So that's kind of how we related it to, um, that's how we related the 21st century, to like America, to, the perspective of Alan Locke. And so that is kind of all that we have come up with for what we think the new Negro is. And thank you.
Goodbye.